Hello everyone, welcome to our onboarding video. In this video, I'll guide you through the initial steps to begin using APItoolkit. Additionally, I'll provide an overview of the complete dashboard workflow. APItoolkit offers a comprehensive solution for managing APIs and web services designed for both engineering and customer support teams. We use artificial intelligence to assist engineering teams in observing, monitoring, and testing their backend systems and any external APIs they rely on. To start using APItoolkit, you first need to create an account. Head over to APItoolkit.io, click on Start Free Trial. Over here we have the sign in page and we have three different options we could go with. The first option is signing in with Google, the second is with GitHub, and the third is with your email. I'll go with the first option. Once you sign up successfully, you're going to be taken to the project list. Now by default, we have an APItoolkit demo project here, but what we need to do right now is create a new one. So click on Create Project. Over here you can put in your first name, your last name, your company name. You can choose the size and also where you heard about us from. Click on Proceed. Now I'm going to select where I need my project to be hosted. I'll choose EU. Now you can select all the features you want to use on APItoolkit. I'll just select all and I'll click on Proceed. Over here you can set the URL you want to monitor and also the type of request you want to make. I'll just go ahead and skip this. Right now we need to select the platforms where we will be getting notifications on. We have Slack, we have Discord. Also you can get notified on your phone number or your email address. Now once you click on Discord or Slack, you'll be redirected to either Slack or Discord depending on what you choose. Now you just need to accept the permissions there and you click on Proceed. You also have the options to invite people to work on your project. For example, if I have a couple of guys working on my team and I want them to also track and monitor the same project, I can invite them here and also you can give them the permissions you want them to have over here. Now once that is done, click on Proceed. Once you are done setting up your project, you'll be redirected to this integration examples page. Over here we have a couple of languages and frameworks you could use. In my case, I'll be using JavaScript and my framework of choice is Next.js. As you can see, we have the API key here, but I'm going to show you how to get the API key from the APItoolkit dashboard. Now once you're done, you can click on Confirm and Proceed, but I'm just going to skip this step. Now you can choose the plan. We have the free tier and you have the pay as you go. So you can choose whatever plan you want over here. Right now we are on our APItoolkit dashboard. For you to go to the APItoolkit dashboard, just head over to app.apitoolkit.io. Over here on the dashboard, we are going to grab our API key. So to grab your API key, you go down to API keys. And then by default, you already have one created for you, but you have the option of creating a new API key for different purposes. For example, if I want to create one for staging, I could create one, but I could create one for also development. You click on Submit. As you can see, one API key is already created for me. Then you can copy this and then use it on our project. To enable monitoring in your projects, you need to implement one of APItoolkit's SDKs. We have over 17 SDKs across different frameworks, and if there's a case where you're using a framework where we don't have an SDK in, we can create one for you. In this video, I'll be using one of the Node.js SDK, which is Next.js. We have an SDK guide which you could refer to, but I'll be showing you how to do it in this video. Right here, I've created a new Next.js project. The next thing we need to do is set up our environment variables. So the first thing we have here is the Open Telemetry Exporter. Basically, this is the address where we are going to be sending telemetry data. Now the second one is the hotel service name. So basically this is just the service name and it's just for our APItoolkit dashboard to identify where this particular telemetry data is coming from. For example, you can send it from the development branch. The next thing we need to do here is to add the API key we got from the APItoolkit dashboard. In this case, I'm just going to paste this here. And over here, this is just specifying the protocol we are going to be sending the data over. In this case, this is just HTTP. So that's all we need for the environment variables. The next thing we are going to do is to create an instrumentation.js file under our source folder. So this is just going to tell OpenTelemetry the name of our application, basically just registering it. So that's all we need to do for instrumentation.js. Now we are ready to start monitoring requests from our application. But before we do that, we need to install Axios because it's a requirement when using the Next.js SDK. So we'll just go ahead and install Axios. Once Axios is installed, we can now start monitoring. Here we are going to create an API route. In this case, I just created an API route called hello. We're going to be throwing hello world when we hit the API route. We created a basic API route which is just going to send the greeting hello world. So in order to capture monitoring, we're going to be using the with APItoolkit app router middleware from the APItoolkit Next.js SDK. So here's just a simple function that's returning hello world, and we're going to see it in our browser. Below here we have an optional configuration in case you want to capture the response body. We're going to run our application. As you can see here, we just have a simple response that's throwing hello world. Right now, let's head over to our APItoolkit dashboard and see if it captured this request. Before we dive into the request that has been captured by APItoolkit, we first need to have a rundown of the dashboard. On the sidebar here, you could minimize this to have enough viewing space. Also, if you click down here, you can see a drop down of the different projects you have, and also you could add a new project. On the dashboard here, you can choose to have a new custom dashboard, and to do that you could head over to new dashboard. Once you click on this, you have different options, and you can see the overview of what you're going to be getting when you choose a particular dashboard. Over here we have the Explorer tab, and on the Explorer tab we are going to be looking at the different requests that has been made through our application. APItoolkit tracks all ingoing and outgoing requests. As you can see, in this case we have /API/hello. This was created in our application. When you click on this, you can also use the slider to expand this to see more information about this particular request. Over here you can see the type of request that was made. Also you can see the status code. On the right hand side you could see the date, that's when this request was made. Also you could see the endpoints, the URL, you could see the latency, the request size, the response size. Also it tells us the framework we're using, which is Next.js. Over here you can remember the option we had about viewing the request body. You could also view the request body, and this is the raw details basically. And you can see when it was created, the duration, the different errors. We don't have any error. The host, which is localhost, and you can see a lot of things that are going down here. Now on the next tab we could see the request body. So the request body, basically nothing was there, but on the response body we choose an option which we could capture and show the response body. In our case, this is just hello world. Over here you can also see the headers and also different parameters that was used, but nothing was used so far. On the traces tab, we could see more information about every single request that has been made in our application. It could be incoming requests or outgoing requests. Over here we have the different timestamps where these requests were made. Also we have the service name. If you can remember, we set this in our application. This could be from the development branch, it could be from the staging or production. Over here we have the request summary. Now if you click down on this, it's going to give you a drop down, and as you can see here, it's just like a step, which is like the request lifecycle. So basically it's telling you every single thing that has gone on when this request was being made, and you can also click on them and see more information about it, like the latency and also the attribute processes and different logs. This is one of the things that makes APItoolkit stands out from other monitoring platforms. We care about going in to show you the details of every single thing that has been going on in that request. There are a lot of other things you can do on the APItoolkit dashboard. Over here you can set a range of the requests you want to see. For example, you can set for the last hour, you can set for the last 24 hours, 7 days, or you could just set a custom range of all the requests you want to see. You can also set the refresh frequency. For example, if you want to set this to refresh every 15 seconds or 30 seconds. If this was a real world project, you would have a lot more requests here, and it can be really hectic trying to navigate through each of these requests. For that, we have a filter here. And in this filter, you could filter by a lot of things. For example, we have the method status code. Let's say we want to filter by method. We could choose get, and it's going to filter by get. I mean, obviously we only have get request here, but if we navigate to, let's say, a real world project, for example, in the demo project we have here, we'll have more examples here. Now, if we go to the Explorer tab and we click on filter, we can filter by, let's see, post requests. As you can see over here, it has been filtered by post requests. And also, let's set another condition here on our query field. Now, let's say we want the status code to be, let's say, 500. So you can see that it has filtered by the post request and the status code 500. Now, you could also choose to save this. Once you save it, then you could give it a name. Let's call it posts and method. Now you click on save. As you can see, it has been saved successfully. Now, anytime you want to make this exact request, you can come down here to the preset and you can see the one we saved, which is post and method. On the API catalog, you can see the different projects that are being monitored. For example, we're going to use this first one, which has the most events. Click on this, you can see the different routes and the request that has been made. So let's view the logs. You can see every request that has been made so far. On the traces, you can also get more information. On the dashboard, we also have the changes and the errors tab. So over here, you can see all errors and exceptions that has gone on your application. So on the inbox, we have the active errors and also we have the acknowledged ones. We also have the archived ones. So how this would work is you have an error, you can choose to acknowledge it, you can choose to archive it. Over here, we have the monitors and alerts tab. Now, this is very important because you want to get notified when something goes wrong. We have an instance running already, but you could go ahead and create a new one. So here you could just put a URL and also the type of request you want to be sending. Over here, we have a couple of options. You could set the HTTP version. You could also add some assertions. So basically, this is just testing if a particular condition is true. You can see how granular this is, and this is what sets APItoolkit aside from other monitoring platforms. We also have the reports tab here. Now, APItoolkit sends you weekly or daily reports depending on what you want. Over here, we have the settings tab. Here you could change the name of the project, or you could change the description. You could update the pricing, or you could just delete the project if you want. We also have the API keys. You could create a new one, or you could use the one that we have been using before. By the way, this is a demo project, so I'll advise you not to edit anything on the demo project. You could also invite members from your organization, so I could add someone to collaborate with me. Just put in their email and save it, and they'll get a request to join the project. We do have a documentations tab here, and it's going to take you to our documentations page where you can see different SDK guides or blog posts on how to implement APItoolkit. So far, we have come to the end of this video, and if you found value, please give it a like and also subscribe because we are going to be making future videos. Make sure you give APItoolkit a try, and if you have any more questions, you can leave a comment under this video, or you could write to us at APItoolkit on Twitter and also on LinkedIn. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.